Welcome to Wayfarers Unity. I'm going to start with a short story. One day in 4th grade, they had a show and tell. All the little kids were there, and the first boy got up and he stood in front of the class and said, "My name is Benjamin, and I am Jewish, and this is the Star of David." I said, "Oh, thank you, Benjamin. Have a seat." The second boy stood up in the class and he said, "My name is Mark, and I'm a Catholic, and this is a crucifix." I said, "Oh, thank you, Mark." The third boy got up, and this was in the South, and his name was Jeffrey, and he said, "I'm a Baptist, and this is a casserole." That about sums it up. So, I have a few slides there, you can look at it if you wish. Not that many today, but my first slide is a slide of a kind of a road sign. So I was thinking, if I were to explain to new people what is New Thought, we are a New Thought congregation, I would say it's very hard to identify. We're not a cult, we're not woo-woo or anything like that, but what we are extraordinarily diverse. And if you go to a Unity Chapel or a Center for Spiritual Living Center, you're going to find that they're all extraordinarily different. And I think the reason for that is that we teach that life is about choice. So since we teach life is about choice, you'll find our congregations are extraordinarily diverse. So if I were in that show and tell in kindergarten, I would probably bring this road sign that indicates choices. So today's talk is about slowing down. Here I am retired. I've lived up here about 17 years in these gorgeous mountains. We did flee from the metropolitan Atlanta. Of course, everybody knows originally I'm from Ohio. Let's give it up for Ohio. But Mary, Sandy, got some Ohio people. So we've been up here all these years, yet I find, and I know all of you who interact with me know this, my mind is still racing. I'm still somewhat habituated to that cell phone. I don't want to say addicted. I got a synonym for addicted. Habituated sounds better. I'm habituated to that cell phone. And I thought about that condition, and I decided to write this talk on living in the moment. So the talk is for me, and I hope you enjoy it. I have this great cartoon, and it's on your handout. I hope you can see the cartoon. The cartoon is a gentleman at a cocktail party, and he's wearing a cone on his head, like they put on the animals when they have illness and they can't move their head. And the caption says, "Well, the cone keeps me from looking at my phone every 2 seconds." So rather than me buying a cone and putting it on my head, I decided to do this talk. And then I went to that famous philosopher, a New Thought philosopher, I'm sure you all know this woman, Lily Tomlin. And it is Lily who said, "For fast-acting relief, try slowing down." So I found that quote, and that's when I said, "Oh, that's my talk. For fast-acting relief, try slowing down." Now, for many of us, that takes a lot of life lessons. I can speak for myself. I would be here 18 hours if I gave you the whole story on me slowing down. So I'm not going to go do that today, maybe next Sunday. But on this note, let's talk about a story of a young man who was having trouble living in the moment. His name was Peter. And he was in school. When he was in school, he was always daydreaming. He wanted to be outside. When he was outside, he wanted to have summer vacation. He constantly was daydreaming. He was not living in the moment. One day, Peter went out into the woods, and he fell asleep. And a whimsical lady appeared and said, "Peter, I have a wonderful opportunity for you." And he said, "You do?" And she said, "Yes. I am going to give you the opportunity to skip the dull moments of your life." She handed him a silver ball with a gold thread. And she said, "Now what you can do is, if you take this, Peter, and you pull that gold thread out of the silver ball, time will speed up." And he's like, "Oh, that sounds like a great idea." She said, "Now don't pull it unless you mean it, because it's going to speed up the time." So he says, "Okay, let me think about that." He takes it, he runs home. The following day in school, Peter has his first opportunity to use this new gift. And the lesson's dragging on, the teacher's saying, "Hey, Peter, pay attention." He's like, "I can get out of this minute," so he pulls the thread. And all of a sudden, he's out of school for the day. So he thinks, "Whoa, this is going to work for me. Why waste time in these mundane moments that I don't want to be in? Why don't I just pull this thread some more?" So he decides as he grows up, and he's pulling it more, and he falls in love with this great lady, and he says, well, I don't want to wait for the marriage. You know, I don't want to go through all this engagement time. I'm just going to pull through it and get married. So he does that. And then they have a few kids, and the kids are bothering him. He's like, oh, man, look, that kid's screaming. I'm going to get out of that. So he goes through most of his life pulling the golden thread. But sadly, at the end of his life, Peter realized he's not fully engaged with his wife or his children, his work. He realized that there was quite a bit of emptiness. He had allowed the impatient and the discontentment to rule him. He had robbed himself of life's riches, great moments and memories. As an old man, Peter returned to the forest, and sure enough, that lady came back, and she said, have you enjoyed your special gift? He said, at first I really liked it. It was so much fun. But now I hate it because my life has passed, and I feel empty. He said, can I go back to that schoolboy and relive my life? And the woman said, yes, Peter, I'll do that for you. So she worked her magic, and Peter went back to his schoolyard and lived his life full of joy and triumphs, challenges, and he never wished again to pull the golden thread. How many of us at times have metaphorically pulled that golden thread? I'm sure none of us. In 1844, in his essay, Experience, Ralph Waldo Emerson, now you can kind of tell that I like Emerson. This is the book. You know, and he's not particularly easy to read, but he has a lot of great quotes. So I find his great quotes, and then I look it up, and then I find out, well, what else he said. But it's not really easy to read. I'm not pushing you to read it, but I love his quotes. So his quote is, this is his quote, and I think I put it on your handout. To finish the moment, to find the journey's end in every step of the road, to live the greatest number of good hours is wisdom. And that's from Emerson in 1844, in one of his many essays, which are in these books, and the essay is called Experience. So to finish the moment, to find the journey's end in every step of the road, to live the greatest number of good hours is wisdom. I love that. That speaks to me. So what does it mean to live in the good hour? Well, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean being fully present every time we have a conversation with somebody, being in the moment, not thinking about your grocery list, not thinking about I got to rush home and take the dog out, but really being present with each other. Living a life of meaning, because we always learn that happiness is not material things, it's having a meaningful life, doing something that's important to you, that's passionate for you. Being generous, sharing your special gifts, as everybody in this room does. I mean, if you look around this room, we have our board members, we have people that work in the yard, our beautiful grounds, people that give us their gifts of music, Chris, Laura. I mean, this congregation is all about that, giving of your gifts. And it's learning and growing in some way each day and sharing our knowledge and life experiences. I really enjoyed Ann's talk and her opening comments about we're stronger together. And that brings us here together. So we do a lot of that. We do live a lot of it in the minute. But let's face it, Americans are addicted to speed. Even if we are living in the moment, we're impacted by others who are not. So recently, I was going to the recycle center and by Kingwood. And if you know, most of our recycle centers are one way. So you drive in, you drop your bags, you drop your garbage, you drop your plastic, you drop your paper, and then you roll out. So I'm at the one over here off Chichero, and I'm driving up, and all of a sudden this big truck comes barreling towards me. He is not going the right way. He's coming down, and I'm going up. So I'm like, well, he must be new. I am an optimist. He must be new. I'm going to be the one brave soul who will roll down her window and speak to them. Yeah. You know where this is headed. And I'm sincere. Oh, sir. He looks down at me because I'm in my little car and he's way up. He looks down, got a ball hat on. You look like a nice man. I said, sir, I'm sure you don't know, but this is one way. He looked at me and he said, I know it's one way. And he screams at me, I didn't, it's so crowded up And I just didn't know, I was stunned. I was like, he's really nasty. Does he live in Raven County? And I just looked at him and I thought, well, do I have one of our brochures? Maybe I can give a fellowship brochure. Or if I thought quick enough, I would have used the Gandhi line. Gandhi says, there's more to life than increasing its speed. I would have loved to have yelled that back at him, but I didn't. I just said to myself, bless and release, because I can't control him. Bless and release. And bless and release is a favorite saying that we say in our fellowship all the time, because there's lots of things we can't control as hard as we try. I will say I do try to control. Rebecca can attest to that, but I'm growing through that. So anyway, that man made the choice. That's my point. He made the choice to be highly irritated over waiting in line for some lady who probably had a lot of bottles, some lady who probably had a lot of paper, somebody who probably parked incorrectly. I mean, it happens. But he had lost his cool. He had made this choice to just, basically break the law and turn around and go the wrong way. Peter, of course, in my story, Peter made that same choice to rush through life. And as I said in my opening, I'll pull this slide up, what we teach here is that everything in your life is a reflection of a choice you have made. Everything in your life, my life, is a reflection of a choice we've made. If you or I want a different result, make a different choice. We should just plaster that all over the room, because that's really what we teach about. It's about choices. How do we choose to live? We teach that everything in our life is a reflection of that choice, and if you want a different result, make a different choice. The other thing about our teaching is we take personal responsibility to live our best lives. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of The Science of Mind, writes in his textbook, and again, if you have insomnia, I would recommend the textbook. Otherwise, I'm not pushing the textbook because it's not easy to read. He has a lot of disciples or followers that I like, and I've spoken about Raymond Charles Barker being one of them, and I brought his book. And I like reading Raymond Charles Barker. He learned under Ernest Holmes. Ernest is a little harder to understand, but here's a good quote from Ernest Holmes. He says, "Our teaching is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Neither does it promise something for nothing. It does, however, promise that if you apply the teaching, you will experience greater possibilities and happier conditions." So that's from Ernest Holmes. He died probably in the mid-1950s. When did he die? He died in 1960. Yeah. I don't like people to correct me at my meeting. Highly inappropriate. I'll be the end of you. Yeah. It happens all the time. Ernest Holmes passed away in 1960s. Is that right? Yeah. I'm just teasing. If slowing down and living more in the moment is our desire, then we have to make the choice to be self-reflective. And even those of us who study hard and learn this and do it, we are even us get stuck behind somebody driving on a single lane road in the mountains who has apparently learned this lesson because they're going 20 miles an hour, right? They've learned that they're slowing down. They're taking the corners. They're hitting the brakes. There's a little downhill. They're slowing down, and then we're behind them, and we're just furious because we can't pass. So it's a choice. If you want a better relationship with your children, it's a choice. If you want a better relationship with the volunteers or the co-workers, make the choice. If you want a healthier life, start making those small choices that are going to get you there. It doesn't all have to happen at once. An American author, Annie Dillard, I put the slide up there. This is her quote. Again, another great one. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. So on that note, I'm going to segue to this weekend. And this is the Memorial Day weekend, which is the day that we honor the fallen soldiers. Veterans Day is when we honor those men and women who served, serving and have served. Memorial Day is when we honor the families and the men and women who perished. 1.2 million Americans have passed away through military service. And as we honor the American heroes, Memorial Day, and their Gold Star families. We happen to know a couple of young women that are Gold Star families. They lost Ryan in Afghanistan when he was 22. He was on the side of the mountain, and they lost him. And they spent a good bit of time honoring the fallen heroes. They've even worked with the state of Georgia to have flags and stuff, so it's quite moving. So I always, send them a note, call them on Memorial Day to thank them and the family. These men and women were not given the opportunity of an extended life because we lost them in battles. So as we wrap up my talk today, I would like, sometimes we stand up and sing a song and stuff, but I'd like to ask in my closing today that we stand up, and I handed out a handout, and it has the prayer of a time for everything, and I would ask that we stand together and we read together a time for everything, because the point here is that the emotions and the actions of our life, negative and the positive, they're all important to experience, because that is the human experience.